What to do is to say thank you to the new subscribers. I really appreciate that. So I was foam rolling. Actually, I was foam rolling the muscle that we were talking about today because I had a client who was having pain and he was concerned. He was having pain down his arm and he was concerned that he might have something called a rotator cuff issue. And so we decided to go ahead and just, because he's very tight in the shoulders and the upper shoulders in this area. And let's get in there and work some of these muscles and see what we can find. Well, we got into the muscle that we're going to talk about today called Supraspinatus, and he had a couple trigger points in there, and that pain just radiated down, his shoulder and then down his arm, just like he would have when he was using his arm. And we got that to release, gave him some self-care tips, and so far the pain has not come back yet. And a lot of times you might have a tear, and so if you think you have a tear, especially if you have incredible weakness, but this muscle could, and we're going to talk about this, can mimic these symptoms fairly close. Work the muscle first and see if it releases it and relaxes it and makes the pain go away, and if not, then have it checked out by your physical therapist, your doctor, your orthopedic. But a lot of muscles can create the same pain patterns as a tear, and this is one particular muscle that can. So let's just get right into it. This is the muscle called supraspinatus, and where is this muscle located at? Well, it's located right on the top of your shoulder. It is one of the rotator cuff muscles. So this particular muscle sits right on the top of your shoulder blade, so right up here, and it runs down the shoulder, crosses over, and actually drops off the arm a bit and attaches right on the very top part of the bone of the upper arm, right here. We're going to talk about these marks here in just a minute. But to find that on yourself, just take your hand, reach back here, and what you're looking for, if you put your fingers on the top of your shoulder blade and then drop off toward the back, you'll feel this bony line that kind of drops away and kind of disappears when you go toward the center of your body. But if you follow it, it almost goes over into your arm. It sort of stops right about here. Well, that's the spine of your shoulder blade. That's what it's called, the spine of your shoulder blade. And if you put your fingers right on that spine and then pull it back up and kind of drop off that bone, you're going to be right on supraspinatus, right on that muscle. And just go ahead and, we call it palpating, but just push into it a little bit. And my guess is that it's going to be tender and tight. Most of us are very tender and tight here. Now, as you are just kind of pushing around in here, follow that spine, that line all the way down, cross over the top, but actually the muscle drops down underneath the bone there, so you won't be able to feel the muscle or touch it. But then as you come off of your arm, just like that, this is where the muscle is attaching into, right in here. And this is an area that really gets sort of damaged or torn or has issues right in this area here. Okay, not so much up here. This is where we get our trigger points, is back up here. Okay, so that's the location of this muscle. And that's how you can find it on yourself. What does this muscle do? Well, the main thing this muscle does is pull the arm out to the side. And that's one of the symptoms. As you bring your arm out like this, it can be really painful. Same thing with a tear. If you've torn the muscle and you do this, you're probably going to feel it. But if you have trigger points or angry points in this muscle, that you are going to feel, okay? But that's its main job, is to bring your arm out like this and to stabilize this joint. So it's really important. It's one of 4 muscles that actually stabilizes this area right in here, okay? So that's supraspinatus. Now, what happens when this muscle gets tight? Well, I want people to remember that muscles get tight because we use them. We use them all day long. Whether you're sitting at a computer and your head is forward, whether you're out doing construction, you're a dentist, you're a doctor, it doesn't matter what you do in your life, you are using your muscles. And if you're using them, they're going to break down, and as they rebuild to get stronger, they create scar tissue. And scar tissue is one of the reasons why muscles get tight. So just realize as you live your life, your muscles are getting tighter and tighter because you are using them. And it's important for us to take care of them. That's why foam rolling is so important, because we have to help our muscles get this stuff out of there so they will move freer. And when we don't do that, we can create hyper-irritated points in the muscle. This muscle can have 3 hyper-irritated points on the muscle, 3 of them. So not a very big muscle. But these 3 trigger points can create pain that mimics a rotator cuff tear, okay? And a lot of additional pain. So let me just show you Mr. Manning here real quick. I'm going to move him around here, and I'm going to show you the pain patterns here. So first of all, you can get pain along the whole length of the muscle, all along here. And by the way, this is on both sides of your shoulders. I'm just showing where the muscle is here, and I'm showing you where the pain pattern is here, but it's on both sides. So again, we can have pain all the way along the shoulder. The main place that this muscle shows pain is right here, right in the deltoid, right there. And again, that's why it feels like it's a rotator cuff tear, because this is where the pain is showing up. And you can have that pain with any movement, okay? You can also get pain down, less pain, but down the side of your arm, a little bit into the back, and a little bit in the front of the upper arm. Another hot area is right on the outside of your elbow. Right on the outside of the elbow, we can get a lot of pain there. It's rare, but that can be a really significant pain pattern if it develops here. And then, you can't really see this, I'll bring Mr. Manny up, but all the way down the forearm. It doesn't quite reach the wrist, but it goes all the way down the forearm, somewhat in the front, somewhat in the back of the forearm. Okay, so all the way down the whole length of the arm. So this is described by everything that I've read. This pain is a deep, aching pain in the shoulder. And most of the time it's right centered, but it can be any of the deltoids, okay? So any of this upper part of the arm. That ache can actually extend down into the forearm, into the upper arm. We can feel that achy pain when we're at rest, and then it gets more painful when we're actually trying to use our arm, almost to the point of not being able to. So again, you get this pain when you're using the arm, especially if you're bringing it up. Anything above your head. So a lot of people will say like brushing their hair, even brushing their teeth or shaving can really be impacted. Like they're not able to do that without pain. Lifting heavy objects up and or using your arm above, extended out like this for a long period of time, like painting, rolling a paintbrush around the top of the wall or in the ceiling, that can really aggravate this. Walking a very heavy dog that's pulling you out like that, that can really put a load on this and cause it to get angry. You may even hear and feel a snapping or clicking sound, because what happens is that as this muscle gets tight, it's pulling the tendon right down here. So the tendon's being pulled really tight, and as you move your arm, you might actually even feel this little snap or click in this upper arm. That's a really good indication that this muscle, one, is way too tight, and you've got some trigger points going on in there. He was definitely getting the clicking sound. So in my mind, I thought, well, it's possible you tore it, but there was no massive incident where, I shouldn't say massive, but there was no defined incident where he did something and then from that point on, it just developed slowly into this pain. And that was, for me, I thought, well, let's take a look at the muscle first, and then we'll go from there. And luckily, that's what was causing him. And I actually had the same issue. I had pain radiating down in here. I use this arm a lot when I'm working on people. I kind of push in like this, and I had just gotten this thing so tight. When I got in there with the tennis balls, I got it to loosen up. So let's talk about that right now. So let's say you have a nice, well, I'm a big fan of trying to warm the muscle up. So take a nice, warm, heated, moist towel and place it again. Some people microwave them. Some people just take water and they put it on the stove and they heat it up and then they pour it on here. If it's really hot, you can put a towel on, a dry towel, and then put a towel on top of it. Or you make it warm and just put it on here. But warm this area up. If you're tight on both sides, which most of us are, then wrap it around both sides and heat up the neck, which is it's a win-win all the way around. So wrap that heated pad around here and nicely warm it up. And then once you've warmed it up, take your tennis balls. This is what I was doing before when we went online. And you take those tennis balls and you're going to have to kind of get your body in a very just sort of down position so you can put this right on that spot. Just like this. And what I do is I actually try to hold on to the top ball. And I just place it in there. And I just work it just like that. And I can tell you there's a spot right there. That's probably a trigger point, but I can kind of feel it radiating down that spot that I was having problems with. And you want to do both sides. But again, you're just taking the tennis ball and you're just sort of working the top portion of your shoulder blade. It's a little difficult because it is on the top, but if you get your body down into a nice position, you can really get in there. You can work, I would say, about 90% of the muscle, probably about 95% of it, a good part of it. Okay, so once that's done, once we've got that done, now we want to stretch it a little bit. So there's several ways that you can do this. You can use a towel or you don't have to. If you can reach back here and grab your arm, then you just pull your arm up. Or what I do is reach back behind and I kind of take my arm and I just gently pull it up. So this is a good point. If you're stretching an arm and it just gets angry, that's a fairly good hint that you might have a tear. That would be a good time to have it looked at. But if it feels good to stretch it, then you probably don't have a tear, you just have a tight muscle. That's usually a really good indication that you know if you're stretching something and it's just unbelievably painful, don't continue stretching it, have it looked at. Okay. Another one, you can actually take a towel over your shoulder, grab that towel back here. Oops, hold on. There we go. And then you can use this arm to pull it upward. Okay. And again, you want to stretch gently. We're not pulling like this. We're just pulling gently and easy so that this back arm is stretched a little bit. Okay. You can do the same thing out this way. And you're pulling your arm that way, right, and stretching it out. So those are two really good stretches for this muscle. But make sure you get in there with your tennis balls and work this area because you want to break up that scar tissue that's in there so that the muscle will elongate and contract the way it's supposed to. And then the stretching will feel really, really, really fantastic. Okay? I hope this is helpful. If you have things that you're interested in, a specific muscle that you think, wow, you know, I'm having, or you have a pain pattern that you can't figure out, let me know and I'll take my best shot at it and see what we can come up with, okay? All right, thanks so much and have a great day.